Hello everybody, it's Wendy, Crooked House Herbals. Nice to see you this evening. And we are here for another Weeds and Wisdom session. I hope everybody is well and enjoying this evening. I think we're gonna get some rain, which I'm excited about. And we definitely feel like fall, which I'm also excited about. I am ready for summer to say goodbye. No more summer for a while. Anyway, just in case there are any new people here, well, I'll wait a couple minutes until we get started because we're still got people coming. It is 7 o'clock, yes it is. Just a reminder that if you want to review any of our past sessions, you can go to Crooked House Herbals YouTube channel and pull up Weeds and Wisdom and view any of our previous lives. If you've got something in particular that you're wanting to review or look at or share with somebody or whatever, feel free to do that. You can also catch this live and others on the Crooked House Herbals Facebook page for 30 days. Each one is on for 30 days and then it's taken off. So, hello everybody. And tonight's topic is a little different. I entitled it, I Can See Clearly Now. I want to talk to you tonight about some eye herbs that help with your eyes. And some of you know that, I have a few years ago, I created a formula for your eyes that it's called Everclear Eye Care. And it is a really good formula. I had forgotten how good it is until I went back and it was reviewing some of the herbs, see if there was anything new out there, and still a good, long-standing, good blend of things that I use in my eye care drops. But I wanted to talk to you specifically about a couple herbs in particular, in case it's something that you want to include in your regimen. Oh, sorry, 7 o'clock. I start yawning at 7 o'clock. And I also want to share with you some stories of people that have used formulas similar to mine, that have some of the same ingredients, and some of the wonderful things that happened as a result of that. Now, like with any other herbal formula, you always have to remember that you have to be consistent and you have to give it time. I really feel like my vision has been sustained as long as it has because I have been using my eye formula. I have lots of clients that use it and swear by it, and they have in their own right have some really good testimonials about my eye drops and things, that the way that it's helped them with their eyes. When you break it down though, and what these different herbs do, then you go, oh, well then maybe the cause of that is some of these things that we've talked about for weeks now, maybe months, and it all gets back to a very similar situation, and that is inflammation and oxidation. Those two things will make you age, will make your body deteriorate. We talk about free radicals all the time. I'm always telling you, all of these this herb is an antioxidant. This herb is an antioxidant. Eat these foods that are antioxidants. I'm always telling you about these things for a reason. And some people will have deterioration in some parts of their body and some people will have it in others, and that's just going to go towards whatever happens to be weakest, maybe. But it's a really good indicator that you really need to focus on more antioxidation in your body. Oxidation is literally rust, and we are rusting out as humans, and we're not designed to do that. That's not, that's indicative of what we eat, what we drink, how we live, and time, right? So there's, to a certain degree, we can head it off, and we can stave it off. When it's our time to go, we're going to go. It doesn't matter how healthy we are or how sick we are. Those of us that know the God who created us, that's not a worry. That's actually something to look forward to in my book. But I also feel like there is a very large segment of our population that has bought into the lie. They have bought into the lie that says, oh, when you reach 65, the first thing they do is assume that you're on at least 3 different medications. Blood pressure, you probably have diabetes. A lot of people are on like anti-inflammatories, or they're on, they have to take steroids, or they've got this heart thing or that heart thing. Well, that doesn't necessarily have to happen just because you turned 65. Not at all. In fact, that's part of the lie. We do not have to play that game. It's part of, it's propaganda. And we've been buying it for a long time. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm sure I'm probably going to offend a few of you, but that, they think that anything that's wrong with them, they've got to go run to the doctor. Well, let me tell you something. The doctors have an agenda, and it's tied to the pharmaceutical companies, and it's all about money. And I'm not going to say that your doctor doesn't care about you and he's not a good doctor or this or that or the other, but I'm here to tell you. I firsthand witnessed the cattle calls this last week. And I don't even want to talk about it because I was actually really disturbed. I was actually more disturbed about my 3 hours that I had to spend in a doctor's office than I was about the outcome of my visit. So, but I was very observant in those 3 hours that I was sitting there, and I watched, and I watched the whole machine at work. And most of those people went out of there with probably a handful of prescriptions and an appointment to come back and do it all over again in another month or 2. It's big business. And so somewhere in there, we have to use our discernment, and we have to come to some kind of a balance, some kind of agreement with what that's all about. I was thinking about it, and I thought, I would probably have a completely different feeling about going to the doctor. And this is just me, guys. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just saying, this is me. This was what would make me feel okay about a doctor. Not that he's been to school for a bazillion years, because so have I. I have a doctorate. I have gone to school for a long time. I got 2 masters and a doctorate. I know what that's all about. And then I know you got to make a lot of money to pay for it. But I thought, you know, what would make me comfortable in this situation? What would make me actually feel okay about being here? And here's what it is. If the doctor came in and said, I just want to tell you, before we even get started, that I believe in God, and I know that God created us, and He has gifted me with the ability to be His hands and feet and work for Him and treat His people. And before we even get started, I'd like to pray with you. And let's see if we can determine what's really wrong with you. If He started the visit like that, then I would feel a whole lot more comfortable that maybe He wasn't the only one that was in charge, you know? And that maybe if He really was seeking wisdom from someone other than Himself. Because I happen to know for a fact the education that doctors get. And physicians in general don't have to have a whole lot of, they only have to have an hour of nutrition. And they don't necessarily study how your entire body is connected. They specialize in a certain area. And it defers to other doctors who have the specialty in another area. And that's how the machine works. And then the pharmaceutical companies get in the middle of all that. So I was thinking, I thought, I would feel a lot better if I knew that this person wasn't depending totally on, a script or checking boxes, like I came in and I checked my particular symptoms, check a certain number of boxes, so that must mean this is what's wrong and let's do this. And I thought, that's not going to happen. That's my pipe dream. But because that doesn't happen, at some point, we have to have our own discernment. We have to have enough information and enough knowledge to at least do our own homework. And, there's tons of stuff. And there's people like me. There's people that do nothing but study natural healing. So what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of that is you get the other side of the story. I'm not anti-science. I just happen to know that what we have been getting in the last few years has nothing to do with science. And if it does have to do with science, it is evil science. Like, it's got an agenda attached to it. So I think science is awesome. God is science. You can't deny. There's no denying. And I think, He's given us brains. He's given us the ability to think. He's given us the capacity to retain information and to learn. So I think that all of that is, that's our responsibility to do. But that's not what's happening. And so we end up getting ourselves in this mess where, we've got all these ailments and we are chronically ill. And we are brainwashed into thinking the only one that can fix us is a doctor. And that's what I've been trying to get across to you for months now. And that is, a lot of what's wrong with us can be fixed by us. By pushing back and not putting things into our body that are not the right things. I know that you guys think I just can't get off that horse, but you know what? You are literally what you eat. So if you are not paying attention to what goes in your body, then eventually it's going to catch up and it's going to let you know exactly, it'll go so far and it won't go anymore. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, guys? And I'm going to keep trying to educate you about things that I think are important. I read an article today that says, that was really actually kind of cool and amazing, and that is that the EPA is now being charged and being forced to not only come clean on the fact that they have been polluting the water, but they have to produce documentation. And in other words, the jig is up. All that fluoride and all that stuff they've been dumping into our water that's been killing us and frying our brains. That's why I've been telling you for years, don't drink the water. How many times do I tell you that? I say, just drink distilled water. Steam distill it yourself. My distiller's out there going right now. I've been distilling water all day to get my 3-gallon jug filled back up. But don't drink the water, because that is a slow deterioration process, and it affects your brain and your muscles and your, just check into it. Why do you think, I remember I homeschooled my kids, and I then became a school teacher. Okay, so one of our field trips one time was to the water treatment plant. Okay, and we go to the water treatment plant, and we're standing outside this fence. We couldn't go, you know, too close in to the big area where all the water was and everything. But outside this fence, I could see these huge bags of fluoride that were going to get dumped into the water. And I pointed to the kids and I said, hey kids, look what's on that bag. And the boys were going, oh, cool. You know what it was? A skull and crossbones. Toxic poison. And that's what they were getting ready to dump into the water at the water treatment plant. And I wished I would have taken, in fact, I actually think I did take a picture somewhere. So, I'm not just blowing smoke. It's been going on for a long time, because I don't teach school anymore. And my dentist sent me an email when all that stuff started happening and said, I mean, it was a mass email to all his patients, but he said, don't use fluoride toothpaste anymore because they're putting it in the water. So, I don't know how many of you guys have noticed there is a video that's on, I don't know where I don't know if it's on Facebook or if it's on my Telegram or one of those, but I saw it today and I went, holy cow. I mean, I busted out because it was like, are you kidding me? There was, this gal just did an experiment. She said, I'm going to do an experiment with Coca-Cola, baking soda, and toothpaste, fluoride toothpaste. So she squirted a bunch of toothpaste in this bowl, then she put a thing of baking soda in there and poured some Coke in there and stirred it all up and stirred it all up and stirred it all up so it was all blended, stuck it in the microwave for a minute, and when she brought it back out, she had gloves on, it was a black blob, like you could manipulate it. And then she took a magnet, a big old magnet, and she put it over the top of it and pulled, and when she pulled up, that blob just pulled up, and she could move it to the right, and she could move it to the left, and she could totally manipulate with this magnet above it. It's pretty creepy. And that stuff, all three of those things, people put in their bodies every day. My husband drinks a lot of Coke. So, anyway, please be a little bit more vigilant and diligent about what you put into your body. Yeah, it's extra effort, and sometimes it's more money, which I don't understand why they charge you more to eat food that doesn't have things in it. But please, I will tell you like I tell my mother. It just needs to have real food in it. Carrots and peas. Maybe salt. But it needs to say salt, not some sort of sodium dye, whatever. Just salt. Or, you know, if you're going to eat ice cream, have it have cream and vanilla and real ingredients, and that's all. Good luck trying to find that. But there is a few brands out there that does have, but of course you're going to pay more because it doesn't have all the other stuff in it. But that's what it's coming to, guys. It's coming to that. And if you can't figure out anything else to eat, make a baked potato. You won't starve. But you really need to be careful about what you're putting into your body. Especially how much water you drink and what kind of water you drink. It's very important. Okay. Back to the topic. All right. I want to talk to you about some herbs that affect your eyes. Because you probably have gathered now from the conversation that the doctor that I went to was an eye doctor, right? And I got some interesting news. And, I was like, well, okay. So, I'm going to do, what I have to do about that. But in the meantime, I'm ramping up my eye drops. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to drink some teas that I'm going to talk to you about tonight that have had some really amazing results for people. I mean, there's one story in here about a child born blind that after, I don't know how many months it was actually able to follow a ball down the hallway. It was a toddler by then. And was, had some vision. So, let me just go from the beginning. Okay, the definition of an eye ailment, right, is any problem affecting the eyes, such as glaucoma, cataracts, poor vision, conjunctivitis, styes. I used to get a lot of styes when I was a kid. I remember that. My grandma would put tea bags on them, and they'd go away. Retinal issues, those kinds of things are all eye ailments. Okay, so when you get a stye, it's inflammation of your sebaceous glands in your eyelids. And it's very painful. And it's inflammation. So there's a number of things that could cause inflammation. You can get something in your eye and it just gets in there and it starts to fester and it becomes inflamed because that's how your body gets rid of stuff, right? It's its immune response. But, or you could, scratch it or anything like that. That would cause inflammation. So, or if it's a constant chronic problem, it could be stemming from more of a dietary issue, okay? Remember that your blood carries all of everything, okay? And your blood is in your eyes too. So, we need to clean our blood, and we need to use some good herbs that I'm going to tell you about tonight that have a history of doing reparative work, okay? Sarsaparilla tea is one that a lot of people have used for things like styes and, topical type things. Raspberry, agrimony, eyebright, and buckbean. Okay, eyebright is one that we're going to go back to because eyebright is a, you hear about superfoods. Well, it's the super herb for eyes. That's how it got its name. Also, like if you have eye inflammation, you can take a cotton ball and you can take some olive oil and you can take some rue, which I don't know, I think I would probably make an oil with it, like infuse some oil with it, and take rue oil and rub it all around your eyes. What I do at night is I use castor oil on my eyes at night. and it's excellent for cataracts, any of those kinds of issues. You know, it's also nice for your eyelashes. You know, I mean, it's more conditioning as well, but I use it, I actually like run it on the inside of my eyelids so that it actually goes into my eyes. It doesn't hurt. You don't even know it. It doesn't even make your vision blurry. It's just good for them. And I do it right before I go to bed. I use my eye drops, then I put my castor oil on my eyes, and I go to bed. Okay, now, here is a formula that's similar to the one that I make for my eye drops. Okay, I have a couple more things in mind that this one doesn't have, but bayberry bark, which is very astringent. Okay, just remember that. It's like it pulls things together. Okay, cayenne pepper, which brings blood to an area, so it'll bring the healing to wherever it needs to be. That's why I've talked to you about cayenne at length, you know, about stopping bleeding or stopping a bloody nose or stopping a heart attack. Okay, it is an amazing herb. Everyone needs to keep a jar of cayenne pepper handy, either in their kitchen or the bathroom, somewhere. This particular formula is known to remove cataracts and that heavy film from your eyes. Okay, so you've got bayberry, cayenne, eye bright, golden seal, which is an antibiotic, among other things, and red raspberry leaves. Okay, red raspberry is very much a blood cleanser, like red clover. It's also got a lot of other healing. So, remember that formula. We'll come back to it in a minute. Another topical herb that would be very good for something like a stye or an eye infection, maybe conjunctivitis, something like that, is mullein. Mullein leaves and red raspberry, golden seal for the infection, slippery elm, lobelia, marshmallow root. All of those, you know, you can make a nice tea and do an eye wash with it. Or what is known in herbal circles as a fomentation, which is, you know, you just tear clean pieces of cloth like linen or cotton and soak it in that really, really strong solution and then put it over the area, whatever it is. That's called a fomentation. And then you do it again. You just keep your brew hot and you just keep applying. When it cools off, you put another one on. That's how I actually started with my Restore formula that I sell all over the country now, because I had a torn shoulder and I started, which was really, it was actually kind of comical, but I couldn't move my left shoulder at all, so I only had my right arm, and I was trying to make fomentations with my Restore formula and wrap them around my arm and then put plastic around it, you know, to keep it from getting everything all wet, and it was a joke. So finally I thought, you know what, I think I need to just make this into a cream. So that's when I decided to turn it into a cream where you could just rub it on as many times as you wanted to, and it works great. I don't have any issues with my shoulders anymore. So, never went to the doctor, except for to find out that I had a torn shoulder. That's the only time I went. Okay, so far I've listed, what, at least 10 herbs that, and a lot of these you know about. A lot of these we've already talked about, and you know that they do other things as well. Mullein, I've talked to you about mullein before, but you know, mullein will cure gangrene. It'll keep you from having to get your leg cut off. Or, you know, that it is so antibacterial. It is an amazing herb. I love mullein. But a lot of these herbs are that way. Marshmallow root, of course, is very soothing and cooling. Golden seal is an antibiotic. Slippery elm is really, really good as well. Okay, so let's keep going. I got some stuff highlighted that I wanted to read you. Cayenne pepper. That's where people go, oh my gosh, you have cayenne pepper in your eye drops? And I say, yeah. So I suggest that when you first get it, that you dilute it with distilled water and use a solution that you can tolerate until you can build up and just make it strong. You know, just use it more often. And then eventually you can build up to a stronger and stronger, you know, ratio, and it doesn't bother you anymore. It actually, the only time it really stings me is if my eyes are already irritated, like if we've come back from a motorcycle ride or something and I've been in the wind, even with glasses on, you know, my eyes get kind of dried out and crusty feeling, and if I put my drops in them, it stings for a minute, but I do it anyway. Because the cayenne pepper really gets things rolling. It gets all the blood circulating, and that's where the healing is in your blood. Gets your cells reproducing. It gets all the right things happening. So cayenne's a good thing. You just have to figure out how to use it. Some people can't eat it, so put it on your skin. Let it soak through that way. Somehow get it in you. Okay. Another way to clean your blood is burdock. Burdock is a very good blood cleanser, and it's a super anti-inflammatory. So if you find yourself in need of, you know that you're toxic and you need to get your blood cleaned out, get some red raspberry and red clover and burdock and brew yourself up tea every day and drink that for a while. I have tinctures as well if you want to get tinctures from me, but those 3 herbs right there will really help you with cleansing your blood. We've talked about dandelion root for your liver and some other ones, but blood cleansing, red clover is a soldier in that realm, and also burdock. And once you can clean your blood out some, then of course your inflammation is going to go way down. And you would be surprised. I had just decided, actually, before I'd gone to the doctor, I had decided that I was going to go on October 1st, if anybody wants to join me. I am going to embark on a 10-day cleanse. And I think I'm going to go with the juices that I made when I had cancer. Because, for one, half of that 64 ounces that I drank every day was carrot juice. And of course, carrot's really good for your eyes as well, but carrot and green apples. And that was that juice. And then the other juice is made with greens, like chard, Swiss chard, and green apples, and some other kind of lettuce. I can't remember, I'll have to look it up. But anyway, that one's a little bit, it takes a little more getting used to. It's a saltier taste, but I think those are the 2 that I'm going to go with. If anybody wants to join me, I'll be happy to give you the recipes, the juicing recipes and the regimen. And I'm going to do that from the 1st to the 10th. I'm going to go ahead and do a cleanse. It's time. I try to do some kind of a cleanse every quarter, and it's time. We're moving into a new season, and I think my body will be happy if I give it a good detox. So that's a side note. But okay, so what about like eye muscle degeneration? There are herbs for cell proliferation. I mean, we've talked about this stuff. The first thing I thought of was, ooh, maybe we could just like squeeze aloe vera in our eyes. But we can drink aloe vera juice. That would be one good thing. One of the herbs is, getting back to that one that I talked about at the beginning, is eyebright. Okay? Eyebright has been used for thousands of years or hundreds of years because people discovered that it was helpful in for ailing eyes. It will strengthen, it will rebuild. I use Eye Bright in my eye drops, but it's very nourishing, and it also helps with cell proliferation. It helps grow cells. Comfrey does as well. We know that, and so does aloe vera. So I'm thinking about that, and I thought, you know, actually a nice aloe vera gel, it would probably feel really good if it was all natural, you know, just the aloe vera. So you just scrape out aloe vera out of those big leaves and grind it up, maybe add some distilled water to it, and do like a treatment on your eyes with aloe. Actually sounds like it would feel really good. I may try that. And then also, you know, drinking it, getting it into your system is a good idea. Aloe vera will be good for a lot of things. Your bowels. That's the other part of being, you know, having a lot of inflammation, is when your bowels don't work right. You got toxic stuff in there, and you should be going to the bathroom pretty much every time you eat. And if you're not, you might want to order some of my Smooth Move pills. But aloe vera is also good to help with that. And there's lots of herbs that will help with that. But I just got too busy, and I ran out of my capsules, my Smooth Move capsules, and I thought, well, I'm too tired. I don't want to go down there and make any right now. So I just went and I drank about a half a cup of aloe vera juice, because I did have that. Went to the bathroom the next morning pretty well, but it's good for, and the peel of the aloe vera leaf is where your good laxative effect comes from. You know, like chew on one. So anyway, okay. So we talked about cayenne pepper. Carrot juice is another thing that's very good for your eyes. And I would actually recommend that, you juice your own carrots if you can, because I'm not sure how old the carrot juice that you would find in stores is. I guess you could look at the dates on it and make sure it's just carrot juice and nothing else. Here's a cool story about this. A young man came to us wanting help. He wanted to become an Air Force pilot with the government, but the government had turned him down because of bad eyesight. He had passed everything else with high grades, but the answer was still no, because of poor eyesight. When he asked the medical doctor if he could try again later, he was laughed at and told this condition cannot be changed. He persisted, and so was given a 3-month return date. We had him clean out his bowels. Okay, then he went on the mucusless diet after a 3-day cleanse. Mucusless diet, for those of you that don't know, is one that is fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, and seeds. There's no meat in there, there's no eggs in there, there's no dairy in there. Okay, so he went on this mucusless diet after a 3-day cleanse, and then drank a quart or more of freshly made carrot juice each day, 6 days a week. Okay? He used nothing but distilled water on the 7th day. In 3 months, he returned for his eye examination at the Air Force Agency, and this time was given approval with a clean bill of health and good eyesight. And that was a 90-day gig, So sometimes, you're right on that line. And I know I told you my story about using my eye drops. I went to get my driver's license, and they told me that I had to have glasses. So I had to go to a doctor and get glasses. I never wore them, but I got the glasses so I could get the driver's license. And then I made my eye drops, and I started using my eye drops every day. And then when it came time to renew my license again, of course, you got to do the vision test again, and I did that, and I didn't need my glasses. In fact, I got this look on my face, like, oh shoot, I forgot my glasses. I just always kept them in the car, But she said, well, let's just try, without it. If you need them, you can go back and get them and come back. I didn't need it. So my eyes had improved in that time. And my formula does contain Eye Bright, and it contains Golden Seal, and it contains Bayberry, and some of these other things that I've been talking to you about. And it's not, it's not just for the young people either. There are some stories that I have in here that are really great because they're older people, gray-haired people that have come in and have been able to be helped with herbs. So, some ones to put on your list if you're wanting to try this out for yourself would be red raspberry, bayberry bark, okay, Eye Bright, Golden Seal, and cayenne pepper. And of course your cayenne pepper is just going to be very fractional compared to the rest of the herbs. Like if you're using an ounce of each herb in your formula, you would just use maybe, an eighth of an ounce, okay? Just a small amount of pepper. But it's just enough to get your blood going. Doesn't take a lot. Cataracts disappear. A lady with cataracts had been blind for a number of years, and yet in 9 days, she got her full sight back. This is a Dr. Christopher story. This astounded Dr. Christopher, for it had to have happened so fast. Other people go on the program, which he talked about, I just told you about. You do a cleanse, clean out your bowels, you do a 3-day cleanse, you change your diet to where you're not eating inflammatory foods, and then you use these herbs. Okay? So, and that's the thing. It's like not everybody's the same. So it's not going to necessarily work like that for everybody, but it's great to hear that it does work for most people. It might take longer, or it might not. This lady, 9 days, had her sight back. She'd been blind with cataracts. So, dry eyes, glaucoma, bad vision, these are all things that these particular set of herbs can address and address well. Okay, let me just ask. I want to talk to you about. How am I doing on time? Got 10 minutes. Okay, here's one. There's a subretinal hemorrhage. Anybody guess what worked pretty well with that? Let me see. I want to see some of your questions. What menstruum is used for the tincture? In my tincture, I use alcohol, but it doesn't. You don't have to do that. In fact, if you wanted to do your own version, and I've thought about doing this as well. The only reason I don't is because it would have to be like if you ordered it, it would have to be a special order, because the shelf life would not be as long unless you want to do it yourself. If you want to gather these herbs and make your own teas and do your own eye wash, it would pretty much have to be daily. It might last in the fridge for maybe 2 days, maybe 3, but then you'd have to pitch it. So what I do is I macerate all my herbs in alcohol, and then I strain it, and I add water. I add distilled water to it, so that it balances out. But at least there's enough alcohol in it to preserve it, because otherwise you don't have much of a shelf life. And I didn't want to add any chemicals other than that. I just use organic vodka. So that's what I use for most of my tincturing. Apple cider vinegar would burn like crazy. The alcohol doesn't, because it's diluted. I've diluted it with water, but it's still enough in there to keep it to stabilize it so you have a shelf life with it. Anybody else have any other questions while I'm pausing? Yeah, the alcohol doesn't hurt. I mean, when you think about, okay, I'll just let you in on a little secret. 80 proof is fine. Visine. I don't know if you guys have ever researched what's in Visine, which people pour into their eyes all the time. There's a chemical in Visine that will paralyze you. And I used to think about this because this was before I was married and I lived out in the woods. And I thought, you know, if anybody ever broke into my house and, you know, or whatever, I would just offer to make them a cup of tea. And I'd make them a cup of tea, and I'd go and I'd keep my little Visine bottle in my kitchen, and I'd just pour some Visine in their tea. You can't taste it. They would never know. And then it would paralyze them enough for me to be able to call the cops and get out of there. That's the way my head works. I also thought about making, I have this blow dart gun, you know, that shoots darts. I'm not a very good shot with a gun, but I'm pretty good with my blow dart gun. And I thought, you know, I could just make a solution of hemlock. I'm terrible, I know. And dip my tips in hemlock and then blow dart them, because hemlock is deadly. I wouldn't do that, by the way. I'm just kidding. But I have thought about it. I thought if I had to defend myself, I would have more luck using my blow dart gun and the element of surprise, because they wouldn't be affected. You know, nobody's expecting you to do that, with, you know, a nice little hemlock tip, than I would at shooting them, because I'm not very good with shooting people. Anyway, it's why I don't do that. I trust God. And I do have my blow dart gun still. Anyway, let me talk to you a little bit about this hemorrhage. This testimony says, my right eye went bad last January, diagnosed as a subretinal hemorrhage, which left me with probably 20 to 30% vision. Since using the Eyebright formula, I now have 70 to 80% vision. So, let's break it down. Why is that happening? It's happening because these herbs nourish and strengthen the cells. They will, you know, build new cells, strengthen and nourish your eyes, bring blood to the area for healing. It's your best option, you know. Unless you want to go the route, you know, go in there and let them do surgery on your eyes or whatever you need to do. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I know that that's not my first choice. So I prefer to do everything I can do to give my body the tools it needs to do whatever it needs to do. I guess the reason I have this faith is because I had cancer and now I don't. And until you've had that kind of experience with a natural healing, you know, sometimes it is kind of hard to swallow. In fact, I probably wouldn't believe it either. I'd think, I don't know. But I did. And I went from being pretty sick and not too many good options to being completely cancer-free. And sadly, I did it all by myself. And I went to work every day. I taught school. I didn't miss a day of work. And 6 months later, I had no cancer. So that's why I can say, no, I'm going to try this first before I go letting you do whatever to my body. I just trust it because I know that those things have worked for me before. If they don't, I'm no worse off. You know, I'll detox my body. I'll get rid of as much inflammation as I can. I'll put together formulas of herbs. I will drink them. I will wash my eyes with them. I will put drops in my eyes. I'll do everything I can do. And I'll give it some time. And then we'll see what happens. Right? What else can you do? And that should be your approach with any kind of ailment, with any kind of, problem with your body. Don't be so quick to jump on the ER bandwagon. Think it through. I mean, if worse comes to worse, call me. Call somebody that's can help you think about it for a minute and think through stuff and go, what can I do? Where should I start? Can you use your drops if you've had cataract surgery? Yes, ma'am. You certainly can. I would recommend, hey Brenda, I would recommend diluting it, getting a comfortable level of dilution and then building up, but you most certainly can use it after you've had cataract surgery. And you probably won't ever get cataracts again. Eyebright, quickly, because I'm running out of time. Eyebright is also known as Euphrasia officinalis. This powerfully healing herb belongs to the figwort family. Most parts of this herb include leaves, stems, and flowers, can be digested, and they gain the fame and popularities in herbal medicine. There are many amazing benefits of Eyebright for the eyes. It has been believed to treat and prevent different eye-related ailments. All right, let me get down to, let me see, I don't want to miss your questions. Okay. Most benefits of Eyebright herb come from its beneficial compounds and nutrients such as vitamin C, vitamin E, B vitamins, beta-carotene, which is what's in carrots, ferulic acid, caffeic acid, iridoid, glycosides, flavonoids, tannins, defense compounds, and volatile oils. There's really nothing lacking in Eyebright herb. I would recommend everybody that that struggles with any kind of eye issue, Eyebright. We should mention its use in the treatment of many eye problems such as blepharitis, ophthalmia, styes, cataracts, strained eyes, bloodshots, weeping eyes. Use Eyebright herb. Using it is also effective in treating respiratory issues such as colds, bronchitis, allergies, and sinusitis. Yeah, I put it in my nose spray too, along with cayenne pepper. Skin problems, including stretch marks and acne, can be solved well with Eyebright treatments. It's an amazing herb, and at this point, I think the takeaway that you need to take with you from this particular session is Eyebright it's going to address a lot of things, but the inflammation and the oxidation are the two things that you need to constantly be aware of and focused on. When you get ready to go somewhere to eat, say, is this food going to give me inflammation? How do you know that? Well, let's see. Wendy said, okay, inflammatory foods are foods like red meat. They're processed foods. Most of the food that's in restaurants comes from companies like Cisco or other places like that. They don't make all of that stuff in their back kitchen, which means it's processed and it's frozen. And then it's brought to the restaurant and they prepare it. They might add their own spices or their own sauces to it, but generally speaking, unless you know for a fact these people are cooking it from scratch, you're better off ordering a salad and a baked potato, which is always my go-to. You want good food, you're going to need to cook it yourself or find somebody that can cook for you if that's not your strong suit. Okay, here's something that maybe will help you. It's also used for curing red eye infections, like pink eye. It contains anti-inflammatory properties. Treating cataracts is also one of its strong suits. Eye drops can be made from this tea using 5 drops of eye bright tincture and 2 cups of cool water. So see that, and that's where that's why I don't really have too much of a problem with using alcohol to make my eye drops, because if you just, you've got the alcohol in its strength, but then when you dilute it, the alcohol is negligible. It's not going to affect anything, but then you still have that strong tincture. That's really the only way you get that strength, is by tincturing. You can make a strong tea and you can do a decoction, but neither one of those are as strong as extracting into alcohol. That's your strongest way. So the only herb that really doesn't have to be done like that, is equally as strong, is plantain. Plantain's very water soluble, and you can do, in fact, that would be, in my opinion, a good one to add to your eye formula. Plantain is so healing. And we know it as the toxin sucker. It takes the toxins right out. So I hope that this has given you a little bit of information, kind of encouraged you to move on to the next level. Start thinking about putting together your own stuff, things that will help you de-rust your body. Okay, and a lot of that's going to happen with antioxidant herbs and antioxidant foods, because the free radicals are going crazy. And watch out for the whole fluoride thing, guys. You might try typing in experiment with toothpaste and Coca-Cola, or put some of those keywords in there and watch that thing, because it was really amazing. And the weird part was that magnet controlled it. So whatever's in there is, so metallic. I'm sure a lot of it's the fluoride, but something in Coke too. So fun stuff. Oh, hey, one more thing before I go. I don't know if you guys have noticed on my website, but I do have a special going until the end of the month, the 30th. 20% off on our pandemic response kit. Okay, that's a kit that I've put together that's got pretty much everything you need to fight off anything that comes your way. Okay, look it up on the website and you can see the different products that are included in it. And it's pandemic. Oh, I need to look up that crap. Can't remember. Oh, hey, I got it right here. Let me look real quick. Let me look up at the exact code, because you'll have to put that in. I think it's Pandemic Save 24, but it seems kind of long. Let me see. Oh, I don't want this. Don't you love it when Microsoft just gives you what they think you should use? I don't like it. Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me just get to the right thing here. Come on. It's running kind of slow. I don't know if it started raining yet. Come on. All right. There we go. Okay, just let me look it up just to make sure. But the pandemic response kit's got elderberry syrup, Active Immune, Adaptoplex, not today. Something else. It's got like 5 or 6 different items in it. Sorry, it's making me log in again. And tell them that I'm not a robot. Okay. Come on. So, that's on that something I don't know, I just felt led to do it. I feel like we're heading into, you know, they're throwing all the scare tactics out again. There's going to be a new pandemic. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. I hope none of you fall for that. Do not fall for that, please, because that's not necessarily the truth. Okay, it's called Pandemic Save with just S-A-V. So it's Pandemic-SAV, all one word. And that'll get you 20% off the pandemic response kit. Pandemic Save, S-A-V, no E. Okay? And if you forget, just I posted it on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, as well as Crooked House Herbals, so you can find it. But it might be a really good thing for you to, you know, have on hand in the incoming months, because we're moving into that time of year. And, you know, get a water distiller, get your hands on distilled water. Be careful with the water, and try to find that video, because it'll gross you out. It was really amazing. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry we went over a little bit, but it was nice to be with you. And if you have any other questions about what we talked about tonight, feel free to get a hold of me, Wendy at crookedhouseherbals.com. You can message me on Messenger. You can call me if you have my phone number, or text me, and I'll be happy to help you. Okay? Love you a bunch. Have a blessed weekend. Bye now.